Now, from the University of Okoboji, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee.
Hey, welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody. It's a History Tuesday, because History Wednesday for tomorrow is a little booked up, so I'm going to talk with Mary Dreier here. You know, Mary...
It's a day early. It's like a bonus.
It's like a bonus, yes.
It is.
After not seeing you all summer,
Yeah.
I didn't want to miss this week, so we switched our days around and it's working great.
I appreciate the change in schedule. I really do.
Well, what are we going to talk about today?
I don't know.
Another well thought out subject. Little joke between us.
Yes. Well, as the case may be, I have been taking a deep dive into some of our resources about some of the very earliest pioneers here in the area and about what life was like for them, and also just kind of, it's hard for me to grasp. My heart can grasp it better than my head can grasp.
Right.
How long folks have been here, and what it was like for the earliest people.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, we don't have a common denominator, as to conditions and lifestyles and all that stuff.
Yeah, and this place that has become this absolute wonderland for people to come to, back in the early days was very different. Very different. People were still coming, but they were coming here to build a life and to stay forever, and a lot of them did just that. Yeah. One of the families that I've been looking into is the Pillsbury family. I.e. Pillsbury Point.
Indeed, yes.
The Pillsburys are a family that we just know about.
Yeah.
They were early pioneers here, and they did things that we remember, and things are like Pillsbury Point Park,
right?
Named for them. So
what year would they have come here?
We don't do specifics, Jeff.
Oh, yes.
We do basics. Actually, though, I believe it was 1863.
Okay. That's pretty specific, if you ask me.
Not too bad. In fact, I amaze myself at times about this. Let me tell you just a little bit about the Pillsbury family. Mrs. Pillsbury, whose name before she got married was Frances Phippen. That's another early pioneer name. Frances Phippen came here with her family in 1861. So she predated the Pillsburys, actually. So she was very, very early. And we have a lot of artifacts here at the museum from the Phippen family.
Oh, wow.
They went on for a long and storied history here. Anyway, she lived here. She moved to Okoboji in the fall of 1861 when she was just 10 years old. Their farm, I always love to find out where farms were and stuff.
Yes, sure.
Their farm was situated on Gar Lake. Now, it doesn't say upper, lower, or middle. At this time, it could have been Middle Gar, which is now Minnewaska.
Yeah.
East of the Arnold's Park Cemetery.
Okay, that gives you kind of an estimate of where it's at then.
To me, I'm thinking that is probably Minnewaska now. Yeah. She attended school in Arnold's Park and finished teaching for the first term when only 16 years old.
Wow.
She received her first certificate at that age. She also taught at a log school near where the county farm now stands. And you know where that is?
Remind me.
The old county farm was on the old county line road? County home road.
Yes.
Which is now Nature Center Road.
Right.
The county home was exactly where the Mazer Monarch Lodge is now. So there was a log cabin there that was used as a school. Schools were then held in 2 terms, one in May, June, and July, and the winter term in December, January, and February.
Oh.
I did not know that.
Going to school in May, June, and July.
Yeah. Can you guess why they had those months for the school terms?
I'm going to guess because crops were in and before harvest.
That's exactly what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense to me. It really does.
It was all built around the egg then, yes.
Built around the egg?
Agriculture.
Oh, egg. You said egg, and I'm thinking,
that's what
egg?
they teach you in broadcasting. Just bring that down. Agriculture, yes.
We're doing a good job here today,
we're
Jeff.
on a roll.
Okay, we're going to talk about Sam Pillsbury, who ended up marrying Frances Phippen. Sam Pillsbury's family came here in about 1863, but Sam had an interesting adventure before he came here.
Okay.
He was involved in the Colorado Gold Rush in 1859.
Now, was he similar age to her then, or if he'd already done that, maybe he was a little bit older? I don't know.
I don't know, because the newspaper I'm taking this from isn't dated.
Okay.
So that kind of screws things up for me more than usual.
Yeah.
Come on, put the dates on each article, you know. But they went out to Colorado. Part of the story that's very fun, and I know, Jeff, this is a story that you're going to love, and you can relate to.
Okay.
Are you ready for this
sure
story?
I am.
And I'm going to read it so that I get the nuances.
Okay, very good.
Okay. In the spring of 1860, he went back to Colorado to hunt for more gold, all right? He went with a group of 36 wagons in a wagon train.
Okay.
Now, in this little wagon train, they were carrying a valuable commodity out west.
Okay.
Can you guess what that might be?
Tobacco? No.
You're kind of on the right wavelength.
I'm guessing, but
They were carrying, in this wagon train, heading out west to the Colorado Gold Rush, $4,000 worth of booze.
Oh! Is this why you're saying, Jeff, you can relate to that?
Yeah, well, yeah, partially. Yes. Denver was a gambling hole.
Okay.
Okay, we just want to establish that.
Sure.
And so young men, particularly, I think, probably liked going there.
Sure.
The younger members of this caravan had been instructed to leave the liquor alone, and during the trip often drove nails into the barrels, and with the aid of straws were able to take out sufficient quantities of the liquor.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
By the time they arrived in Denver, half of their supply was gone. Ingenuity, right?
You got to admire the ingenuity, that went along with it.
Yeah. I started laughing out loud when I read this. I love taking a deep dive into history.
Isn't that
it's
fun?
always fun, but sometimes it's not as fun as this. This is fun.
But it just goes to show you, boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys,
yes.
Right? When he got back from the gold rush, he and his family moved someplace in the lakes area that exists to this day.
Oh.
You don't have to think too hard about this one.
Oh, Arnold's Park.
Well, let's narrow it down a little bit more.
Pillsbury Point.
Down a little further.
Smith's Bay.
We're going from the eagle eye view down to the human eye view here.
Okay.
Okay, and you're on the right track.
Okay.
Arnold's Park, yes.
Yes.
Pillsbury Point, yes.
By the Abbey Gardner.
In the
Abbey Gardner.
The Pillsbury family moved into the Abbey Gardner cabin. They lived there for quite a few years. I'm thinking like 20 years, a long time anyway.
Yeah.
They were in the cabin. And when they moved in 1863, the Gardner cabin had a floor of rough boards, the same as at the time of the Indian Massacre. The roof consisted of rough shingles, of thick shingles, that were not very close together, so that in the winter, 2 inches of snow could come through the roof.
Oh my.
The door of the house was 4 inches thick.
Wow. Think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Why would the door be 4 inches thick? Well, protection.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always wondered who did this, but now I know for sure. The way the cabin is today, my gosh, the ceiling is maybe this high. Okay,
Right.
It's very low.
Yeah.
But in pictures we have, the ceiling is much taller, and I've wondered when that happened.
Oh.
Well, it was the Pillsburys that added 4 logs and put on a shingled roof over the top of the cabin.
Okay.
So they made the loft area of the cabin tall enough that folks could stand there.
Right.
There was one room upstairs and one downstairs, and 7 people lived in the house. 7 people.
There again, try to imagine.
Yeah, try to imagine. At the time that they lived here, the buildings in Spirit Lake included the A.M. Johnson store. Now, we've talked before about A.M. Johnson, Norwegian immigrant, who built his first store on the shores of Hayward's Bay.
Right.
Hayward's Bay, okay, where the big rock is.
Yep.
That's where his
Yep.
first store was. He built a second store downtown Spirit Lake made out of wood. I'm not sure exactly where it was, probably on Lake Street, because that was the main drag at the time.
Okay.
So the A.M. Johnson store was there. The old Crandall's Hotel. Now, we're not talking the Crandall's Hotel that was up on the north end of Big Spirit Lake.
Right.
We're talking about the Crandall's Hotel that predated the Antlers Hotel in the location of the Antlers Hotel. There was a blacksmith shop also, and a few law offices. So we're talking about a time when there wasn't much going on here.
Yeah, very little.
Yeah, and I've been fortunate enough, and I don't have it with me right now, but one of our museum friends has donated a copy of the diary of the daughter of Samuel Pillsbury, Esther, and she talks about what they did at night and that kind of thing, and they spent a lot of time visiting each other. They held church services in the Gardner cabin because Samuel Pillsbury was a preacher. Okay, so they had church services there. The Pillsbury daughters were school teachers, so they taught school in the Gardner cabin, as tiny as it is.
Yeah.
They did that. But they had a lively social life. The people that lived around neighbored a lot. Esther Pillsbury talks about having music fests. And the reason they were able to do this is one of the things they brought with them when they came west was a melodeon, was a pump organ.
Okay.
So they used that in this little cabin.
And can you imagine toting that from the East Coast, though?
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
yeah.
of all the things that you would have, provisions and the necessities, and don't forget the pump organ for crying out loud.
we've got to have the pump organ.
Yeah.
But they would have these music fests. They would have potlucks together. They would play games.
Yeah.
I've read some entries about them playing games. They neighbored way more than what we do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that need for socialization, we're no different now. We go to places to socialize with other people. This is what they had. This was what was around them.
Think about it, Jeff. Places we go now, the restaurants, the bars, the amusement park, the art center, different plays and things like that. None of that was here then.
Right.
So they could only socialize with each other.
Yeah.
And I just love that.
And they took what they had and enjoyed it.
And they did.
Yes.
And they did it a lot.
Yeah.
They did it a lot. And I assume also that they helped each other a lot.
Yes.
They were true community.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a story also about Mrs. Pillsbury that when she got married, she did one frivolous thing. She bought a black frock coat.
Ooh.
And it was very special to her. She kept it packed away. But the time came for the first fair in Dickinson County in 1870, and she wanted to bring this fancy black frock coat out so she could wear it to the fair. It'd be very hoity-toity. Unfortunately, she took it out of the trunk that it was packed in and discovered that it was a holy coat.
Moth?
Mice.
Oh.
Mice. So her lovely coat, her most prized possession, was destroyed by the mice.
Should have hung it up somewhere.
Yeah.
Live and learn.
Go figure.
Live and
Go
learn.
figure.
Oh my goodness. It is fascinating. The pioneers that were here first and their lifestyle, how they met, married,
And
socialize.
the fact that some of their family members are still around.
Yeah.
Not with all the pioneers. Not all of them stayed forever.
No.
But some of the families did, like the Smith family, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, there are still Smith descendants here, and they were the earliest of early pioneers.
Yeah.
And others also. So we live in an amazing place.
Yes,
Jeff.
we do. And with history, you just keep unearthing more. The more you find rabbit holes and dive down in there, the more we're finding out. So,
Those rabbit holes are mighty fine.
yeah.
They're mighty fine.
Thank you for all your efforts and everybody here as well, Mary. So, all right. So, Way Back Wednesdays continue.
Yes, tomorrow we're going to be talking about, well, this is today.
Yeah.
Today we talked about, I need to get the tense right. Today we talked about, you would have loved this, area bars.
Oh,
Back in the day.
you have a very
Yes, I'm
low
really
opinion of it.
No, I don't.
You were talking about booze, something Jeff knows a lot about.
It just makes for holidays a good thing.
I like
It's
to
a good thing.
socialize,
Yes,
sure.
yes. So we talked about bars today. Next week we're heading down to the city offices. I don't know if you're aware, but the Spirit Lake City offices has a beautiful collection of enlarged photographs from the early days.
Yes.
A lot of L.F. Williams photos. And so we're going to be looking at those and also talking to the city officials about how things are done in the city. And my question for the city is, so what kinds of old records do you have that we can snoop in? You know, what's available there?
Yeah.
We did a fun thing last Friday. We were part of the Dickinson County Soil and Water Conservation outdoor classroom. We had 200 middle schoolers come through during the course of the day, and Terry Heidebrink brought his extensive Indian artifact collection with him and told stories about the Native Americans who lived right here.
Wow.
Did you know, Jeff, over 200 documented campsites here? Not burial grounds, campsites where folks lived.
Wow.
Right here
I did
in
not.
Dickinson County.
Didn't know
Yep.
that. There's another rabbit hole for us, Mary.
Yep.
All right.
Another day.
Very good. All right. Thank you so much for sharing with me today.
Thanks for playing along,
You
Jeff.
met Mary Dreier again here from Dickinson County Museum. History comes alive, my friends. We want to thank Mary for her time. Thank you for enjoying history right here on Okoboji Broadcast. Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you in part by West Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services. Advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz. The headquarters of the University of Okoboji is at the Three Sons, open Monday through Saturday 10 to 5 and Sunday from 10 to 4. Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake. Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji.